Okay.
All right.
I think we can get going.
So, Sarah, what are we doing today?
What are we doing today? Well, this is going to be our very first podcast episode. So we tried filming yesterday, but how did that go?
It would be categorized as epic fail.
Epic fail. Now we got the audio.
We did.
I mean, we could just do an audio podcast with that first one and maybe some pretty images over the top of it.
Well, and I got some constructive criticism this morning about how we just went in hot with like three cameras, lights, stands, everything. And so it's not like we're just like wading in and getting used to it. It's like we seriously jumped into the deep end. And because we have this vision of what we want it to be and what we like to see and hear, and we want to be engaging.
I'm adjusting my chair so that you don't see the side of me. So you should probably do the same so you're kind of at an angle.
Okay.
See, we're still practicing, and maybe this will go live and maybe it won't. We don't know yet. We're gonna play around. Hopefully these actually record, because that's the big thing.
Right. So now we're doing it with I don't know. It's still kind of high tech, but it's not as high tech as it was yesterday or Tuesday.
I feel like we're a little bit more janky this time, but like let's duct tape it together kind of thing. Duct tape and WD-40 work for everything.
You can either make it stick or unstick. So, yeah. I don't know. I think we're just going to go with it and see where it goes.
I think so. Should we tell them the technology we're using today? Or should we make that a mystery?
Sure, why not?
We have 3 iPhones staring at us right now. We have 2 14s and 1 12 that is recording, and we're hoping that this works. If this doesn't work, then we'll probably just stick to a single shot and not have like on each other.
Right. Or we just go audio. I mean, I am not super jazzed about being in front of the camera. I mean, I've spent 20 years behind the camera, so I'm not super excited about it, but it's like it is what it is, and I think it's going to be more engaging. But here's the thing. I have to be incredibly motivated to make change in my life, like incredibly motivated. So knowing that we were going to go do this podcast experiment again with the iPhones, I ran down to the AT&T store and I upgraded my phone. And I've needed to for a really, really long time.
She has an iPhone. Well, she had an iPhone 10.
No.
Was it older than a 10? Really?
You're going to make me shame spiral in our first podcast.
No, this is awesome. This is awesome. So this is the power. So I like the latest, greatest technology, so always buy the latest and greatest. But the fact that you had an iPhone and it worked perfectly fine, there was really no need to upgrade other than we wanted the better camera. But that's a testament to how long the Apple products really do last. Because if you've had it for that long, that's awesome. Like, I don't know of many other devices that would last that long.
Do I even admit to what I was running?
I don't know. It's up to you. It was pretty nice. I still thought it was a pretty nice iPhone. I didn't think that it was like some janky old beat up iPhone. It was still pretty nice. So, I put it as the oldest as 10 because it worked really well. You took great pictures with it. It's not like the pictures were horrible. So,
I must be easily pleased. Like, it doesn't take a lot to make me happy. And so I'm so cold. I was running a 7 Plus.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. How many years old is that? We're at 14.
Oh, I swear the kid that checked me in at the AT&T store today was probably purchased before he was born.
I doubt that, but that's so funny.
He was just a cute little guy. He was in training, and this is his second job ever. And you could just tell he was kind of deer caught in the headlights. And I was talking to him about, the orientation process, the learning process, and how exciting he was to be starting. He's like at the very, very, very beginning of his career. And I'm kind of like, I'm looking for the exit door at this point in my career. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So it was really kind of fun while he was shadowing his manager to talk to him about his goals and his excitement and where he was headed in his life. And this was his second job he came from hospitality. So I think probably fast food or some kind of restaurant arena. But he's good with tech. That generation. I mean.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So he seemed pretty excited, and I was excited for him. So I was kind of like watching the experience through his eyes, just trying to see what it was looking like, helping Granny set up her new phone.
Okay, but really, you're not a granny yet, so don't
put
that on yourself.
I should be.
I'm a granny.
You are a granny.
I got 4 of them, with a potential 5th one by marriage.
And I'm not jealous at all.
So, looks can be deceiving.
There you go.
You just never know, So you're not a granny. You can't claim that yet. Don't claim it yet.
And I won't. And I am not begging my kids at this point. Not yet. I haven't got there yet. I vowed I would not be that mom. But I can totally see why my mom did it.
Yeah.
So.
Why she was ready.
It's like, clock is ticking. The granny clock is ticking.
I'm not getting any younger.
So Sarah.
So back to the technology.
Yes. Yeah, so we're running 3 iPhone 14 plus, whatever it is.
A 12,
Pro.
Couple of 14s.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean.
We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, we'll see. Well, hopefully this works and the video looks good and it works with the audio. And, so that's kind of our epic fail from yesterday, and the technology we're using now. If only you could see what we're looking at. And we can't take a picture because all of our phones are right there. Hi, phones.
All of them. So, should we introduce our podcast and what we hope to do?
Oh, that might be a good idea.
Because
rather than talking about technology.
I mean, I know that we're still kind of like trying to figure it out, but we have a lot to say.
Yeah, if you can't tell, we got on a rabbit?
We went down a rabbit hole.
Rabbit hole with the technology. We talked about the guy that, new job, grandma.
Well, so I'll start, I guess,
because
maybe people don't know who we are. Probably, most likely, you don't know who we are. And
I mean, if you're a friend listening to this, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. Yeah. If you know who we are, that's awesome too. We like you. And we like those that don't know us.
Yeah. So if you're beyond our family and friends, which is probably the majority of you, I'm Haley Lewis. I'm a brand accelerator and creative advisor for business executives. I have a background in graphic design, brand identity development, and digital marketing. And I help people make a cohesive visual brand and that is recognizable and seen to amplify their business. Oh, we probably should have started with you. Shoot. Okay, there it is.
Learning curve.
Go ahead, Sarah.
So my name is Sarah Garrison. Actually, you know what? I'm going to try that again. My name is Sarah Sunshine Garrison because I like going with my middle name. Yes, it is really my middle name. I am an intuitive business healer. Basically, I help you make your business intuitive. And I heal the parts that are blocking you from that success, from the next steps in your success in your business. So you could also call me a spiritual growth coach, a technology guru-ish. But I'm here to help you align with your authentic self. I'm here to really teach you what your authentic self is and embrace it. So I'm the align part of our podcast.
And what is the name of our podcast?
Our podcast is Align to Amplify. So the whole idea is we want to be authentic. We want to talk about our own journeys. We want other people to come on and talk about their journeys. And we also want to talk about everything in between. So, if we've, politics, religion, spiritual growth, business growth, and really, as long as it remains respectful, it's not off limits.
Ooh, I like that. I kind of like diving into conspiracy and taboo. But you know what? I'm open to people's opinions. I like to learn. I like to see where they're getting their point of view, because as a brand accelerator, perception is everything. And to completely understand how perception can craft a narrative, you need to tweak the perspective.
Yep.
And get out of either your echo chamber or your bubble, whatever you want to call it, and broaden your sphere of influence. So as far as the aligned Amplify aspect of it, as a branding professional for years and years, I've found that the clients that I work with, if they've worked with Sarah and done that alignment piece, that they get all of that craziness, because as a business owner, entrepreneur, innovator, you're going a million miles an hour, and it can just be this chaotic mess and that makes the brand journey a lot harder. But I've found that when clients have met with Sarah and they've gotten all that chaos and they've brought it into that center pillar and they've aligned it in with priority, function, all of the things and then removed the things that are not necessarily beneficial. So those roadblocks, that anti success talk that goes on in your head and that negative aspect of it.
Yeah. And like what you talked about earlier is hiding behind what you're so comfortable with. Sometimes what was that video that you said, the hell we live in is safer than the heaven that you deserve? Something
I kind of like your description, but it was kind of and it's scientific. It's a neurological thing or whatever, where they talk about your nervous system. So your body, your nervous system will naturally gravitate toward the comfortable hell.
Yeah.
Rather than the uncomfortable heaven.
Yes.
So, and I thought that was really interesting, because we've, after our epic fail on our first trial run of the podcast, we had to sit down and have a little strategy talk, because it was deflating
We took all that time to set it up, and we made sure we had the right SD cards. I mean, there was so much prep work that went into it to have the technology, the cameras. We didn't know that cameras overheat if they're recording for too long. And we really don't have the financial means to have someone running the cameras behind the scenes. So we need them to just plug and play.
Mm-hmm. And we needed to kind of debrief on how can we do this. And it was really eye-opening, and it was it was uncomfortable. So so I was probably experiencing an uncomfortable heaven, and I immediately wanted to retreat back to the comfortable hell.
Oh yeah, we were talking, well, is this even worth it? Should we just do it audio? Do we really want to jump in full force? Do we want I feel like we don't do anything easy. We don't do the simple stuff. No, we choose the most complicated thing. I can remember your first website. It wasn't a basic website. It was one of the most complicated websites I had ever done. I was new, so it was okay, but, it's a learning curve. But still, I think that's what we do. We tend to jump in and do the most complicated because we want to look good.
Well, exactly.
That's a good thing.
Being from my personal, business, being a designer, all of my work is visual. And so even when we pulled in the SEO person and he's like, you have no written words. And I'm like, it's a portfolio site. But I need you to SEO it. Like, he's like, oh my gosh, how can we even be recognized by Google if you have no content? Like, there's no written words. And I'm like, I don't know. Make it happen.
Figure it out.
Figure it out. And you know what? Though he did.
Yeah, he did.
And it catapulted me right first page on all the search criteria that we had set up.
Yeah.
Amazing. And I will tell you that it was magic, because I don't totally understand it. Yeah. I know that I understand the importance of it, and I understand some of the mechanics behind it, but I don't understand the magic behind it.
Yeah. That's why you have people doing those things.
Yes.
And see, that's the thing, is that the two of us, we're going to help you kind of get the ball rolling, but then we're going to hand you off to the SEO expert. We're going to hand you off to the social media marketing expert. We're going to hand you off to the web developer. I don't do that anymore. I don't want to do that anymore. Haley doesn't do that anymore. She doesn't want to do it anymore. So we've put together experts that will do it for you. So that's kind of,
well, and I'm hoping. We've built an incredible network of absolute rock stars,
which y'all will meet.
Yes,
and we're gonna definitely showcase a lot of them.
And actually, we started the list. We want to invite them as guests, and we'll have specific topics. So, when we have, if we have another episode.
I'm chuckling as we're talking about a guest. I'm looking at this space and I'm looking at the cameras and I'm like, how? I mean, I don't know. These lights, how are we going? I messed it up. How are we going to have someone sitting back? I mean, we'll figure it out.
It's going to be, it's going to be a journey, and we hope that you just laugh. What we want you to do is enjoy following us as we fumble through it, and maybe if you can take just a tidbit from each episode that we have and know that you can learn from our mistakes as we go. That would be like one of the biggest joys for me, knowing that we're making these mistakes for you.
If you ever want to start a podcast, here's what you don't do. Don't jump in head first. Just get your toes wet.
Yeah.
But we say that, but we're still jumping in head first.
Oh, absolutely. And you know what? For me, there's no other way than just to jump in and do it. In fact, when, we got this crazy idea a few months ago, actually, to do this.
Oh, so more than that, because I was gone for 2 months. I've been back for a month. I mean, this has been a 4 or 5 month plot.
So we were pretty set on doing this, and we sat down in one of our planning meetings, and I'm like, I don't even know what's involved with podcasts. So we had to Google it. We Googled, how do you start a podcast? Seriously.
And we had a friend come and show us how to do the setup.
Yes.
And taught us how to use this little thing right here, which we're still trying to figure out.
And I still hope your mic is working.
I hope so too. It didn't quite work in our last episode, which will probably never ever air. We don't even have the video for it.
Okay, no, so we erased the video today.
Yes.
So we would have enough room on the SIM card for today's video. So there it is. It is. We are completely transparent on our growth journey. Let's use the right words.
Growth journey.
Yes. As we navigate our uncomfortable heaven.
Yes. So, that's what our podcast is going to be about. Navigating our uncomfortable heaven. I like that.
Good thing it came up in my Instagram feed this morning.
Oh, goodness. Yes.
So, so we're compiling a list of guests and topics. And it's going to range anywhere from, in my arena, being in branding and marketing and all things visual messaging, that type of stuff, and everything to support that, to Sarah's world,
which includes everything spiritual and everything mindset related. And because technology is also part of my genius. We'll be probably bringing in some people that talk technology as well, but I'm hoping to bring in some, people to talk about the different types of spirituality, how that relates to business. And, honestly, some of them aren't even going to be business related. They're going to more talk about aligning with your authentic self, because that's really what it's about, is how to align with yourself and how to get comfortable in your own skin. And so the people I'll be bringing in will be teaching you how to be comfortable in your own skin. And we might talk about things that upset people or make them uncomfortable on both sides of it,
Oh, absolutely. And I kind of think like when we have our coffee shop talks, if there isn't a level of uncomfortableness, you're not learning.
Exactly.
And I think the point for us is that we maintain an open and accepting environment for people to share their honest opinion. Doesn't mean you have to agree with it, but it doesn't mean you shame or completely disregard or silence.
Exactly.
So open dialogue, there might be a lot of giggling, especially if it gets super uncomfortable.
Yes.
And,
as you were talking, I just realized what we want to do is get everyone out of their echo chambers. That's really what it comes down to. We live in a social media world. We live in a world where we tend to bring people around us that agree with us. And so we develop these echo chambers. And I would say even in our social environments, we tend to stick around people that mirror back to us what we like and what we're interested in. So I feel like this is to get us out of the echo chamber, and to get you guys out of the echo chamber and really hear things that might make you uncomfortable. But when you're uncomfortable, that's when you stop and say, why am I uncomfortable? What about this is upsetting me? And why am I upset? Because a lot of times when we get angry and upset at other people, or we're uncomfortable because somebody else said something, there's a reflection of something that's going on internally with us.
Yeah, you just described, what is it? Our comfortable hell.
Yeah.
Is surrounding ourselves with everything that makes us comfortable and not necessarily correct.
Yeah.
But comfortable.
Oh, very comfortable. And, pain, sadness, anger, fear, there are times we live in it because it's what we know and we're comfortable with it. And sometimes it's a little bit uncomfortable. I feel like it's a little uncomfortable.
It's so uncomfortable.
It's very uncomfortable. But it's difficult to sit in that uncomfortable space to get yourself out of the sadness, out of the anger, out of the pain, out of the fear. Sometimes it's just more comfortable to live in that because it's all you've ever known. What would life look like if you didn't have that? What is it protecting you from? That's another thing you got to think about, is what is that feeling protecting you from, that you want to stay in your bubble and have, in your echo chamber.
Well, and talking about that protection and what's causing that. So some of Sarah's work dives into, ancestral and genetic
so we look
programming.
We look at ancestral, which is like genetic programming. We look at collective programming. So if you are part of a particular environment, so say that you're part of the LGBTQIA plus community. I hope I said that right. But if you're part of that community, there are collective beliefs that are part of that community that drive who you are and the decisions you make. You can break free from those collective beliefs, but that's part of what I look at, is to see if you're living in one of those collective beliefs. Me as a healer, there's a collective belief that comes with being a healer, which all healers think they're going to, there's this behind the scenes that we're going to be burned at the stake because we're evil witches. I said it. And that's one of the things that healers have to get past, is that, okay, we're not evil witches. We're not going to get burned at the stake. That's not how it works. So, but that's a collective belief that I dive into and learn about and try to pull out of you so that you can get past those pieces. I also look at deep into your soul. Like, what did your soul come here to learn? What are some beliefs that we need to clear so that you're right when you go up to those pearly gates, whatever you think those pearly gates look like.
Get right with yourself. And honestly, that journey is, even in my, pre-granny state, I've been on this earth a few years, and
Just a few.
and I'm still learning.
Yeah.
All of these, things that are making me tick. But when you peel that little layer of clarity, like it's like, oh, that makes sense. Like,
Yeah.
do I like it? No, not necessarily. I'm uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But, but it makes a lot of sense. And then you can start to understand why you're developing the belief systems you have, why you're following or not following your chosen, like your divine role in life. And it can be so uncomfortable. Like I know we keep coming back to that, but I'm so glad I saw that video this morning about, the uncomfortable heaven. It's like, it's almost like that's almost the trigger that we need to know that we're breaking new ground and we're growing and we're learning.
Well, and the thing is that it's not that the heaven is uncomfortable. It's the process of getting to the heaven that's uncomfortable. The comfort is sitting in the hell that you've always known. That's the comfortable space, is to just live as it always was. And even if, like, it's miserable and you hate it, it's comfortable. Like, you're neurologically, your brain doesn't want to get out of it because it's where it's always been. And so it's uncomfortable to reprogram your brain to get to that next space. But by the time you've reprogrammed your brain, you're in that heaven, and that's comfortable once you get to that space. It's just that process of moving out of the hell that you've always known into the heaven that you want. That's that process. Just there's a joke that healing is not all rainbows and kittens and butterflies, that it is trudging through the mud and crying yourself to sleep and living in this dark space that you didn't know existed in your life, because it's uncomfortable getting to that. But once you've gone through that mud and muck and just the crying and the screaming, and dude, they make rage rooms for a reason. That those are very cathartic and healing. If you need to, go to a rage room and throw some stuff. But once you get through that process, on the other side, it is rainbows and kittens and butterflies. It is a lot more calming. It is a lot more comfortable. But getting there is the mess.
I had somebody tell me one time, back when I was growing my studio, my agency, and fear was the biggest bully in my life. Mm-hmm. Honestly, the biggest bully, and it was a construct that I created myself. It was like, I don't know, I was feeding that monster. Yeah. And I sat with somebody from one of our networking groups, and he was like, in business, when you face fear, that's the sign you're on the right track. And that fear is the thing that's blocking you or hiding your goal.
Ooh, I like that, hiding your goal.
Yeah, it's hiding it from you. And then I had another coach actually have me visualize fear. He had me like personify it.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And because I kind of am a visual person, once I saw the fear, I recognized him. And it was me.
That's usually what it is.
Right? Yeah. And once I could see that, I could, because I knew fear. I knew who fear was at that point. I knew how to move around it.
Yeah.
Because I knew its weaknesses. Because I created it. Once I understood it, it was like, oh, so I love that. I mean, not that I love fear. Fear stinking sucks. But whenever I'm faced with fear and I can feel it, like, especially in business, but in life in general, but in business, I'm like, oh, it's just tapping me on the chest going, yeah, you're on the right path. Now you need to just maneuver around the fear.
Yeah.
You can out-trick it because we create it.
Yep.
So coming back to the, being a master puppeteer, I'm in control of that fear. You just can't let the monster get away.
No.
Yeah. So interesting.
Yes. And I was just thinking as you were talking, this rabbit hole that we just went down is basically the way that our podcast is going to be. You know, something will come up and we'll start going down and diving into that a little bit more, you know, understanding whatever that topic is, giving our own opinions and information that we know via our expertise. And hopefully we'll do some research beforehand. We've talked about that too. Trying to research our topics. But sometimes
it might be good.
Sometimes it's fun to like just go off the cuff, and I'm sure there'll be like people going, "Dang, you didn't do that right." That's okay. Go for it. Have at it. Tell us what we've done wrong.
Absolutely.
And if you disagree with us, we're okay with that too.
Yeah, because we do not claim to be the know-it-alls. We don't know everything. Now, there's a certain, you know, arena where I know Sarah and myself that we rock at. Mm-hmm. Like that is our, what do you call it? The genius?
Yeah, that's
your
our genius. Yeah.
And we're pretty confident about that. But the majority of the things that we talk about, I am learning as we go, just because I don't have the time to read and research and look at all the things and know everything. I don't. And I'll be the first one to admit it. So yeah, we will make mistakes, but we will learn. Mm-hmm. We may tick people off.
Yep.
But we will learn.
Yeah.
And honestly, we're not going to please everyone every single day. What is it? From a marketing point of view, you can't be everything to everyone, because if you try that, you're nothing to no one. And that's exactly it.
Yeah.
And I just want to start conversations.
Yeah. And that's going to be, I mean, maybe we need to call this like Aligned to Amplify the coffee chat.
The coffee chat. So
coffee cups.
Exactly.
Well, I don't know if we could read all this technology.
That's how this has started, is that years ago when Sarah and I were in the, you know, developing parts of our careers, we started co-working together. We started Hub Power Working, which was every Friday, because we wanted to like co-work, connect, communicate, and just power out the week. Finish like that, you know, making those emails, those contracts, the proposals, those phone calls, finish up the week really strong. And by doing that, we're what, 12 years into that?
Oh yeah, it's
at
been
least
quite a while. Yeah.
At the coffee shops, you know, we started attracting more people coming, and then the conversations got wild, and you can imagine getting the diverse group of creatives, intuitive people, woo, business. I mean,
all in the same room together.
Yes.
It's been interesting.
It's been electric.
Yes. That's why we created this. It's because so many people listened in on our conversations and jumped in. And mm-hmm. we want people to jump in on the conversation. So, like, comment away. That's okay. Mm-hmm. That's been the exciting piece. So we felt like, okay, it's time to, like, have our conversations in a more public format.
Yep. I think really, I mean, this is a good introduction to who we are and what we want to accomplish. Now, how can you get a hold of us? Have we even talked about this?
Oh my goodness, we have not. We have not talked about this yet. We are in the process. It does not exist as of recording this, but I'm sure by the time we go live, it will exist.
And it'll be in descriptions.
Yeah. We're in the process of developing a website for the podcast. We have the domain, right? Yeah, we have the domain. Yeah.
Did we buy it yesterday?
No, that was for the other thing.
Oh, no, alignedtoamplify.com.
Yeah.
It doesn't exist yet, but by the time this is posted, we'll have something up there, at least some kind of splash page.
Yeah.
And you can find me at HaleyLewis.com, also lewiscreative.net.
You can find me at sarahsgarrison.com or Saydra, SAYDRA.com. I'm there in both places.
Yeah. So reach out. We will definitely have a form on the aligntoamplify.com site to apply to be a guest. We really want to have great conversations. And, I hope that anybody that's listening to this would, get excited and want to come and talk with us, because we really have no boundaries and no limits to who we're going to be having on. We might try to steer the conversation or start it, but as far as, a variety of interests, backgrounds, expertise, absolutely. My goal is that people will be able to take something away and utilize it in their lives to make it better, to help find that uncomfortable heaven or make heaven more comfortable.
Yes, definitely. So when this goes up, all the things will be in place.
Links in the description.
Yep, links in the description. And I think we're going to call it.
Yeah.
Right?
I wish we had some outro music or something where we could just...
We could do when we started. Thanks for joining us. This has been awesome.
It's been great. I'm excited, and I'm excited to see where this is going to go and to start that conversation.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
So,
see you next time.
All right. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.